Guys, welcome back to Southern Extreme TV. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on my channel. Today, we're going to be doing a first impression review of a brand hammer new gun by Savage, the 110 Trail Hunter. Now, I was super excited when I first heard about this rifle. It is featuring a Hogue rubberized stock, which I am a huge fan of Hogue stocks and grips. Hogue is what we run on all of our AR platform rifles, all of our AR-10s for coyote hunting, AR-15 for plinking around and home defense. That is what I run, and I love the feel and I love the durability of them as well. So when I heard that Savage was coming out with a bolt action rifle that featured a Hogue stock, I was super thrilled to get one and test it out. So let's talk a little bit about the kind of first initial impression of this video of this rifle. I just picked this thing up today. I've never shot it. I just want to give you my raw emotion of what I think of this gun straight out of the box, and kind of my hopes for the rifle, and where I think the rifle could have been improved on, and where maybe my mind will be changed once I actually take it to the range and start hunting with it. So right off the bat, I want to talk about the weight of a rifle. That's kind of the first thing that everybody feels when they pick that rifle up and they shoulder it and they move it around. It's not a light gun, but it is not a heavy gun either. I don't really want to give the impression that just because this is a little bit thicker barrel, that is threaded, by the way, that it's going to be a heavy bench style gun, because that's not what this gun is. This gun is made to hunt with. It is made to put on your back, put in a backpack, put on your shoulder with a sling, and take it out into the woods and hunt with the dang thing. And right off the bat, that's kind of the first impression I get of it, is it's not super light, but it's not super heavy either. I would say that it's, in my opinion, it's more to the lighter side of hunting rifles than it is to the heavy side of hunting rifles. I've got, for example, a Bergara that's in my gun safe that's kind of a very similar style barrel, kind of that heavier contour with the threaded end on the end of it. And it feels like it's probably 3 to 4 pounds heavier than what this gun is. Now, the stock's a little different off of that Bergara versus this Savage, but the Savage is on a 308 platform, so it's a short action, so your receiver is actually a little bit smaller on that Bergara than what it is on this Savage 110 Trail Hunter. So the weight I'm really impressed with. They're giving you not quite a bull barrel, but not quite a pencil barrel either. It's like a medium contour style barrel, which I'm a huge fan of, because I think that this barrel is going to allow you to shoot several rounds at one time at the range without having to take breaks from the barrel getting too hot. But it's not quite heavy enough to where you've got that super heavy front end loaded barrel on a rifle that you get with some of the really big bull barrel rifles. So it's a good medium, a good mix between the two. The color of it is the next thing I want to talk about. It's not a shiny color. It's a really matte gray color, which I'm a huge fan of. A lot of your stainless steel firearms that are out there on the market, a lot of times it gets really, really bright. Even on some of the Cerakote colors that you see, even on one of the Model 110 High Country that you guys have seen me do a review on in the past, it's a brown bronzish color, but it's bright to the eyes. It's almost got a shine to it, a shimmer to it in the sun, and I'm not that big of a fan of it just because it catches the eye. In my mind, it would be easy for a deer or a bear or whatever it is that you're hunting to see that kind of glistening in the sunshine. This doesn't really have that. This is definitely a more muted color, which I'm a big fan of. And then obviously it just goes really well with the green Hogue stock. The action. So we've got a clear rifle. I should have showed you guys that at the beginning. The action on this thing is really nice for it to be a sub $600 gun. That's right, a sub 600. This gun I actually picked up from Buds. It was $459 before taxes, fees, shipping, all that type stuff. So it shook out to right around 500 bucks after taxes. But for what you get for that price range, it is pretty dang remarkable. I went with a 30-06. This is a long action 30-06. I'm a big 308 fan, big 30 caliber fan. The 300 Win Mags, the 308s, the 30-06s, those type bullets. And I don't really have a 30-06 in my arsenal. I've got one that's a lot older of a rifle, that's more of a family hand-me-down type deal that I don't really hunt with. So that was kind of what opted me to go with the 30-06. And the one thing that makes me nervous about some long actions, especially the budget-friendly long actions, is a lot of times when you get back onto this last 20% of the action, you get a whole bunch of wobble back here, where a lot of times whenever you try to go back forward, you will actually get this action where it binds up and it doesn't want to slide in smooth. With this gun, you don't get that. And you can see how smooth this is, and there's no binding back here. That's the one negative I've got with some of the long actions I've shot in the past, is it's just so hard to, whenever you get that brass ejected, to get that initial, I guess, first 20 to 25% of that action going back forward to get you reloaded and back in the game. This gun does not have that, so I'm really thrilled that the action is smooth. And for it, again, we're talking a sub $600 rifle that, in my opinion, is an all-weather type of rifle. If I'm going to buy a hunting rifle, I want something that I can take in the snow, that I can take in the damp air, that I can take in the rain, because you're not picking your conditions when you're going out and hunting. You're going with what time you have available and with whatever Mother Nature throws at you. And the fact that you get the stainless barrel that is Cerakoted is a very big deal, and you get an action that is super smooth and super reliable. I mean, it's built on the 110 action, so the 110 action's been around for a very, very long time. One thing that I am a fan of, a lot of people are not a fan of this, is the 3-stage safety. So with the safety pulled all the way back that direction, your bolt is locked. You cannot operate or function the bolt. With one click up, you can now operate and function this action. So you can unload, reload, whatever you want to do, you can do it, but you still can't pull the trigger. You still are on safe, so the gun cannot go boom. And then obviously you go up into full fire and you can pull the trigger. And let's show you guys this trigger pull. So in my opinion, the trigger, just right off the rip, it's a 2-stage trigger. It's that Savage AccuTrigger, which I'm a fan of the AccuTriggers. I think that this trigger from the factory is a little heavy, but the good thing is it's completely adjustable. So from the factory, you can adjust this trigger, which is a really, really big deal. You're not stuck with some big, long, ugly, creeping trigger. You actually can go in there and you can dial that in to your liking. So for those of you that do not know what a 2-stage trigger is, you can see this little blade right here. Once that is pulled in, you will hit a back wall. So it is there's your first stage, and then your second stage is actually making the gun go boom. That is where I'm getting the 2-stage terminology from, for those of you that don't understand. Some of your more traditional rifles will have a single stage, so you don't have this play or this takeout right here. You basically just have a trigger that doesn't move, and as you apply pressure, once it gets to a certain poundage, that is what will break the trigger and allow that firing pin to hit the primer. So all in all, just right off the bat, I'm super excited about this rifle. One thing that I want to talk about that is a negative, and it was nothing really and truly that was noticed right off the bat. Just about every one of the rifles that I own, no matter whether, unless it comes with a 1-piece Picatinny rail up top, I am putting a solid 1-piece pick rail. Now this gun comes with a 2-part pick rail, and I'll show you guys that right there. That's what comes on it, and then there's another piece that fits right back here. I have taken this off, and the reason being is there's only one slot. So you have one slot here and you have another slot here if I had the back piece on. And what that does is it allows your scope rings to be you can't move them. There's no play in your scope rings. So you have a set width and you have a set lateral movement point for your scope rings. Now, what that limits you to is it limits you to your eye relief, and it also limits you to the type of scopes that you can put onto this gun. For example, with this one being a long action rifle, I have to have a scope that is relatively long for it to fall perfectly within the grooves of where my scope rings are allowed to go with this one piece. Now, you guys, they sell one-piece pick rails all day, every day, and they're relatively affordable and cheap. For example, here is a random one-piece by Weaver that fits absolutely beautifully, and this is what you would get typically. Now, the problem is that Savage and other rifle manufacturers have started tapping their receivers for a bigger thread pitch of a screw than what has typically been done in the past. So when I ordered this here specific Picatinny rail, the screws that came with it do not fit on this rifle. The holes match up perfect, they line up perfect, but when I put the screw into this tapped female end of this rifle, the screw just falls completely through. A lot of people in the manufacturing world for pick rails are having a hard time picking up that slack of the transition from what they've been manufacturing versus what is now being produced in the factory with these firearms. So I've kind of fell into the trap of having a Picatinny rail that I don't have screws that fit this rifle. Now, it's not a big deal. I called, actually picked the phone up and called a company called EGW. If you guys have been buying Picatinny rails and scope rings and things like that off of Amazon, you have heard of this manufacturer. They're made in the USA, and I actually picked the phone up, gave them a call and said, hey, I've got this problem. I ordered a pick rail from a different manufacturer. I said, I need something, and I need something fast that's gonna get to my door that will work on this firearm. They knew exactly what the problem was. They knew exactly what I needed, and they're actually in the process now of manufacturing me a one-piece pick rail with the size screw holes that I need for this Savage 110 Trail Hunter, and it's going to be at my door here in the next 2 or 3 days. So if you do look at buying a rifle like this and you do realize that the thread pitch is the bigger size screws, reach out to EGW. They know exactly what it is you're looking for, and they know exactly what it is that you need. They can get you going. So that's one negative just right off the bat that I've got on this rifle, because originally in my mind, I went and picked this rifle up today, already had my scope base ordered. I was gonna put this thing on here, I was gonna have an optic on there, and we were gonna throw some lead down range and show you guys a true first impression, pulling the trigger for the first time. But unfortunately, I'm stuck with just the high hopes of knowing what this rifle could look like once I get some screws that fit this receiver. So that's the one negative that I've got on this gun so far. Everything else has been A+. The bolt, the action, super smooth. Trigger is adjustable. It's a little heavy right now from the factory, but again, it's manageable. And the only reason that I think that it's light or that it's heavy is because I've been shooting some pretty high-end triggers, and I really like my trigger pull to be a lot lighter than that. The majority of people in the market buying a hunting rifle is not going to adjust this trigger like it is from the factory. That's just a small nitpicky thing that I've got on my end. Other thing that I'm not crazy about is the detachable box magazine. Now, I do like detachable box magazines in my hunting rifle. I grew up with hunting with the hinge 4 plates where you have the button that you mash and it dumps all your bullets out whenever you're done. I do like the fact that there is a magazine, a detachable box magazine. The problem I got is they give you this kind of flimsy plastic piece down here on the bottom. You can hear how plasticky that is. But again, it's not a huge deal, because remember, we're talking about a gun that MSRPs for $450 on a lot of websites. So the fact that they give you a detachable box magazine and the bottom part of it has some plastic on it, you can't necessarily beat them up too bad over that. I would have liked to seen maybe a stainless steel metal plate on the bottom that matched, you know, this finish here. I think that would look really, really good in my opinion. But again, I'm not going to be too crazy nitpicky on this rifle, just for the simple fact of where it's coming in price range wise. Obviously, I've not done any ammo testing or grouping testing, so there's a good chance that this gun, not a good chance, but there is a chance that this gun just doesn't shoot. However, I seen a video the other day from a bigger name guy. I can't remember his name right now, but he did a review of this rifle. He did a first impression review similar to this, and then he took it out and shot groups. He was shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor and got some fantastic rounds. Hootie Hoo is the guy that did the review and kind of turned me on. I'd been watching this rifle for a while, ever since Savage released it, but he was the first one that I seen that actually got his hands on one and actually shot it. And I was actually in the process of getting one ordered whenever he was dropping videos talking about this rifle. So I'm super excited to be kind of following on his footsteps and on his heels of this rifle. So all in all, I am super impressed right out of the box with this rifle. A little upset, a little irritated that they did not include a full-length Picatinny rail, or in my mind, one of two things I would appreciate. Either give me from the factory a full-length Picatinny rail and increase the MSRP by $20 or $30, whatever it is, to cover that, or completely take away the small two-piece rails that come with the rifle and reduce the MSRP by $20 or $30. I think either way I would be happy with. Obviously, for people that's not very super picky about what type of bases and scope rings they're putting on their rifle, I think that they would appreciate a full-length pick rail straight from the factory, that they don't have to do anything other than check the torque on the screws out of the box. I think that people would really appreciate that. For my eyes, I would like to see that MSRP probably reduced and just give me a gun that looks just like this, where I can put my own Picatinny rail on it for whatever I'm deciding to put optic wise on this rifle. That's the only complaint that I've really got about it. What a fantastic, cool little rifle to get out of the box. I'm super excited to have this thing. I'm a huge fan of Savages. Every Savage rifle that I have ever owned and ever shot has been an absolute tack driver. I've shot 223s, I've shot a lot of 308s, I've shot some 270s, I've shot some 6.5 Creeds, I've shot 30-06s. Every single one of them that I have shot, I promise you, has been a sub MOA rifle. That's right, a sub MOA rifle that a lot of people are willing to pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for, to say that they can shoot sub MOA, when they can go and just pick up a good old Savage with the AccuTrigger for under $600 and shoot sub MOA. So I'm excited to shoot this gun. I'm excited to see what kind of groupings we can get out of this. I will be doing a follow-up review once we get the Picatinny rail in and we get an optic put onto this firearm. I'll be doing some ammunition testing and some grouping testing as well, and I'll be sure to bring you guys along for that. But hopefully this first impression video was intriguing for you guys. I enjoyed making these videos. I enjoyed doing gun reviews. So really excited that you guys were hanging out with me on my channel for this review. If you're new to Southern Extreme TV, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are trying to grow this thing to 100,000 subs, and every click gets me one step closer. Means the world to me. If you've got questions about this firearm, drop a comment down below. I'll try to answer any questions that I can. If I'm ignorant on the question, I'll be the first one to tell you that I'm ignorant and I just don't know. And if I can't find the answer, I will do everything I can to try to help you out. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. Super excited about the new Savage 110 Trail Hunter. I'll check back in with you guys once we get an optic put on this bad boy. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys on the next episode.